I never planned on working nights. Honestly, I never planned on working here at all. But when you're broke, halfway across the country, and your car dies in the middle of the desert, your choices get real small, real fast. That's how I ended up at Miller's Gas and Stop, right off exit 44. If you ever drive through Nevada, you've probably passed it. A cracked neon sign buzzing half dead, 2 lonely pumps, and a convenience store that smells like dust and burnt coffee. I was supposed to work there just for a week. That was 3 years ago. It was the owner, Charlie, who offered me the job. I met him when I came in asking to use the phone. My car had broken down about a mile out, and there wasn't another building for 20 miles in either direction. Charlie looked like he'd been running that place since the 80s. Thick glasses, hands always shaking from too much caffeine, voice hoarse from smoking. He said, "You looking for work?" And I laughed, but he wasn't joking. He told me his night guy had quit. No call, no show. Said if I could handle working alone, he'd pay cash, and I could sleep in the small trailer out back until I figured out my car situation. I took it. I wish I hadn't. At first, the job was boring, exactly what you'd expect. A few truckers came through after midnight, the occasional lost traveler looking for directions. The desert nights were silent, a kind of silence that presses against your ears until you start hearing things that aren't there. I'd sweep, restock shelves, watch the tiny TV behind the counter. Sometimes, I'd stand outside and stare down the empty highway, a black ribbon under a sky full of stars. Beautiful, but lonely. That kind of loneliness that makes you start talking to yourself. The first weird thing happened on my 3rd night. It was around 2:15 a.m. I remember because I just checked the clock, counting down the hours till dawn. A car pulled up, an old white sedan, headlights flickering. It rolled to a stop, but no one got out. I waited. Usually people come right in, stretch, use the restroom. But the car just sat there, engine idling, windows tinted too dark to see inside. After a few minutes, I stepped outside and waved my flashlight toward the driver's side. That's when the engine cut off. The lights went dark. Just silence. I called out, "Hey, you need gas or something?" Nothing. I walked closer, heart thumping a little now. When I got within 10 feet, I noticed something strange. There were no license plates, front or back, and the keys were still in the ignition, but the car was empty. I went back inside, tried to shake it off. Probably stolen, I figured. Maybe someone dumped it there. When Charlie came in the morning, I told him about it. He didn't even look surprised. He just said, "Don't touch it. Tow truck will come eventually." "Eventually?" I asked. He shrugged. "Cars show up sometimes. Just how it is out here." That's when I realized something. The lot had other cars too. Far out near the fence line. Dusty. Old. I hadn't paid much attention before, but now I counted at least 4, all facing the road, all abandoned. I thought maybe it was just desert junk, but every one of them was parked perfectly side by side, and all of them had no plates. The next few nights, I couldn't shake it. Every time I heard an engine on the highway, I tensed up, waiting to see if another car would pull in and never leave. And sure enough, one did. A pickup truck this time. Pulled up, sat there idling for a while, then the engine died. I didn't go out there again. By that point, the little TV behind the counter had become my best friend. I'd keep the volume up, even static, just to fill the silence. Because the silence, it wasn't empty anymore. I started hearing what sounded like voices, soft, low, under the hum of the coolers. I'd mute the TV and they'd stop. Turn it back on and I'd hear them again. It was like the place was whispering under the noise. One night, a storm rolled through. Rare for the desert, but when it rains, it pours. The power went out just before midnight. The only light came from lightning flashing across the sky and the faint red glow of the exit 44 sign. That's when I heard a car door slam outside. I grabbed my flashlight, went to the window. Nothing there. Just rain hitting the glass so hard it looked like it was boiling. Then, faintly through the thunder, I heard a sound that still makes my blood run cold. A voice. "Pump 3, it said. Calm, low, almost polite. Except, there was no pump 3. There were only 2. The next morning, I asked Charlie if he'd ever seen weird cars come through. He stared at me for a long time, too long, and finally said, "You been sleeping okay out there?" I said I had. He nodded. "Good. Just don't go out back after dark. If you hear anything, stay inside till sunrise." That was it. No explanation. I laughed it off. But that night, when I stepped out to take the trash, I saw what he meant. Behind the station, past the trailer, past the fence, the desert stretched out flat and dark. But in the distance, just barely visible under the moonlight, I saw something glint. Rows of metal markers, like crosses. I thought maybe it was junk, scrap metal, who knows. But then lightning flashed again, and I realized it wasn't random. They were laid out in perfect rows, and in front of them was another car. I told myself I'd quit the next morning. Didn't matter if my car was fixed or not. But when I walked in to find Charlie, he wasn't there. The morning shift girl said he hadn't shown up. Again. Apparently that happened a lot. I tried to call him. No answer. Then I checked behind the counter, looking for his number written somewhere. That's when I saw the old newspaper clippings taped to the wall, yellowed, curling at the edges. The first headline read, "5 travelers vanish near exit 44. The next, "Authorities close investigation. No evidence found." The last one, almost hidden behind the clock, was the oldest. "Local man missing, Charles Miller, 1989. Charlie Miller. That night, I didn't go to work. I packed my things and tried to leave before dark. But when I got to the edge of the property, my car wouldn't start. Brand new battery, full tank, nothing. Then I looked up at the horizon and saw headlights coming down the highway, getting closer, slow. One car, then another, then 3. They turned into the lot and stopped. No one got out, just like before, and one by one, their headlights turned off, until I was standing in total darkness, surrounded by the sound of engines clicking as they cooled. Then, through the rain, from somewhere close behind me, I heard that same calm voice whisper, "Pump 3. By the time I clocked in the next night, I'd almost convinced myself that I'd imagined everything. The writing on the mirror, the people outside, the man in the reflection. Maybe it was just exhaustion. That's what I told myself. But when I got to the gas station, Charlie's truck was gone. And so was Charlie. The morning manager said he'd quit suddenly. No call, no note, just left his uniform in a pile by the door. That didn't sound like him. Out of habit, I checked the cameras again. Everything looked normal, except one feed. The farthest one, facing the old highway ramp labeled Exit 44. That road's been closed for years. But the motion sensor kept tripping, faint headlights flickering, then disappearing. At around 2:30 a.m., a car pulled in, an old beige sedan with out-of-state plates. A woman got out. She looked scared, glancing over her shoulder like something was following her. She came inside, drenched from the rain. "Please," she whispered. "I just need to make a call. They won't let me leave." I offered her the phone, but when I turned around, she was gone. Not walked out. Gone. I ran outside. The car was still there, engine running. Keys in the ignition. Driver's door open. No one inside. That's when I noticed the smell. The same faint burnt odor from the night before. And then, through the fog, I saw another vehicle at the edge of the lot. Charlie's truck. I walked toward it, calling his name. The headlights flickered on by themselves. Inside, the passenger seat was empty, but the dashboard camera was recording. I pressed play. It showed Charlie sitting there the night before, shaking. Then the sound of someone knocking on the window. A voice said, "You shouldn't have taken their place." And then, static. The rest of the video was distorted, except one frame at the end. The woman's face, the same one who had just been in the store, staring directly into the camera. I went back inside to call the sheriff, but the phone lines were dead again. Every single camera feed froze, except one. Exit 44. It showed a gas station, identical to ours, but in ruin. No lights, no movement, just emptiness. And in the middle of that screen, standing beside the old pumps, was me. I watched, frozen, as my reflection on the screen slowly lifted its head and smiled. The next morning, I woke up in the break room, sun pouring through the blinds. Everything looked fine. No truck, no car, no woman. But on my time card, someone had written in red ink, "Shift transferred. Welcome to exit 44."